Let's go. Yo. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another rapid-fire edition of the Chicago Sports Podcast. I am your host, co-host, and guest once again. My name is Kyle Duplessis. It will be a solo show. And I want to talk to you guys today about should the Bears fans, players, team, organization embrace the tank? Now, first and foremost, I've been hearing a lot of this on Instagram and Facebook. A lot of people saying that the Bears should tank for better draft position. First and foremost, I think in order to be a team that is eligible to tank, you have to be a team that is capable of winning football games. Right now, the Chicago Bears are not one of those teams. The Bears have proven over the last 9 games in which they have a 9-game losing streak that they are not capable of winning football games. So realistically, guys, they don't have to tank. They're probably going to lose the remaining 2 games for the rest of the season, regardless of whether or not they try to lose. On top of that, I don't think the Bears can really improve or decrease their draft position in any way, shape, or form. Right now, the Bears would be, if the season ended today, they would be 9th in the draft. And even if they won the last 2 games of the season, they probably wouldn't move back too far, maybe as far back as 11. And if they won, or if they lost the last 2 games of the season, they're probably not going to move up very much, maybe to 8. I think 8's probably the best that they could do. With how many bad teams there are in the NFL this year, the Bears just can't move too much in the draft. They're at 9, and they're probably going to stay there by the end of the year. But I also don't think that losing is good for young players, particularly young quarterbacks like Caleb Williams. I think if the Bears can win football games, they should do everything in their power to make that happen. I mean, this is now a 9-game losing streak that Caleb Williams has suffered through. He's hearing all this hoopla in the media saying that the Bears picked the wrong quarterback or Caleb Williams got stuck on the wrong team. It's not good for the development of young players to keep losing. Ultimately, these players want to win. These are guys who have played in college football, and most of them who are top high picks have come to the NFL and are used to winning games. He played for USC. He had some good years there. He probably won a lot in high school. I just don't think it's good for the development of Caleb Williams. After a while, once these guys give up mentally, I think they start to make more mental mistakes on the field. I mean, if you look at the Bears in totality right now, they are probably closer than most people think to being a competitive football team. So if you can keep these guys' mentality, make sure they sustain a winning mentality, make sure that they're prepared going into next year for being maybe even competing for playoffs, then you want those guys to have that mentality going into next season. If the Bears continue to just lose games and lose games and lose games, we've seen this before. We've seen guys on losing teams who are flat out sick of it. They don't want to be here anymore. We saw it in Justin Fields. You could see it in their body language. You could see it in their reactions to certain things or certain questions they're asked in interviews. You could see the way they interact with other players on the team. That's just not something that's good for sports. You don't want to instill a losing culture in any organization. Right now, that's what the Bears have. If anything, I'd say the Bears should try to do everything in their power to win the next 2 games to finish off the season on a strong note and give them some positive thinking going into next season. I mean, the Bears right now are probably what you'd consider at rock bottom, right? I mean, this is worst case scenario. If I had asked you before the season, what is the worst case scenario for the season? You'd say the quarterback playing well, going 9-game stretch without throwing an interception, and they lose every single game, or them losing it to a Hail Mary against the Washington Commanders, or block field goal against the division rival Green Bay Packers. I mean, you can't continue to sustain this losing culture and expect your players to be happy here or want to play here. I think would be really good for the Bears if they come out and beat Seattle and beat Green Bay to finish off the season. That being said, the roster that Ryan Poles has built here is just not good enough to win. When you look at them competing against these teams like Detroit, or if they played Buffalo, or if they played Green Bay, Minnesota, Kansas City, the Bears just don't have as good of a roster as those teams do. In order for the Bears to compete with those teams, they have to play almost a perfect game, and those teams would probably have to have a game that's less than perfect for them in terms of their own consideration. So if the Bears aren't firing on all cylinders, which we've seen all year that they're not capable of doing this season. They always screw things up. They set themselves backwards when it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back every single time with this team. We saw it in Sunday's game again against the Detroit Lions with 10 penalties and 2 Roma Dunze fumbles in the first half. I mean, this team right now isn't capable of winning games. I don't. It's kind of confusing to me that people keep using this word tank. I mean, if the Bears were going to tank, they've already done it, right? Once you lose 9 games in a row, I'd pretty much say you tanked your season. You can't lose every week. Not only that, but at this point with 2 games left, it wouldn't really be a tank. It would just be losing the last 2 games of the season. Is this team close to competing for a playoff spot, competing for a championship? Can they build some positivity off this season and go into next season and win 9 or 10 games and flip the script and improve this team drastically? I believe with the right head coach and the right draft and a good draft class, I think this team is capable of doing that. I don't think the Bears are as far off from being a competitive football team as people think. I mean, when they were 4-2 and they were beating the crap out of teams like the Jaguars and the Panthers, everybody thought the Bears were going to go to the Super Bowl. Now, all of a sudden, they've lost 9 in a row, and people are saying this is the worst team in football, and they're so far from a Super Bowl, and they need to fire everybody. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be held accountable. Has Ryan Poles been a great GM since he's been here? Absolutely not. No, he's missed on plenty of draft picks. He obviously had the Chase Claypool trade that people to keep talking about. He retained Matt Eberflus. These are all things that need to go against him. But at the same time, I'd say right now, if Ryan Poles decided to leave this team, or if the Bears decided to fire him, this is the best this team has been left after a GM has left the team in the last 10 years. I mean, this team was not in good shape when Phil Emery left. It was not in good shape when Ryan Pace left. If Ryan Poles left today, we're still top 10 in salary for cap space. We're still top 10 in the draft again, and we have 8 draft picks going into this next draft, and both the second round picks from the Bears and Carolina Panthers are going to be high picks in the second round once again. I think this team is within close enough distance to reach out and grab a winning culture. I think if you go hire a good head coach, a guy like maybe Ben Johnson, or a young, innovative offensive mind, or even a guy like Mike Vrabel, who's kind of the safe play, but will come in here and hold people accountable and is a good leader of men, and you have a good draft class, I think this team is more than capable of winning football games next year. I think they're probably going to be next year. We thought they were going to be this year. Caleb Williams should have taken another step in his development. He's probably going to be better next year than he is this year. I mean, I can almost guarantee it. Roma Dunze will take that next step. You still have guys like DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. If you could re-sign a guy like Keenan Allen, that'd be great for the Bears, because he's pretty much a coach on the field for this team at this point. And he started to build a rapport with Caleb a little bit. I think right now, as crazy as this sounds, for the fact that this team is owned by the McCaskey family, this is probably the most desirable job in the NFL in terms of head coaches. So I think the Bears will basically get their pick of the litter. And I think you probably couldn't go wrong with either Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel. So why the Bears would think about tanking to improve their draft position? First, you're not going to get high enough in the draft to get one of those picks where you can trade back for a team that's quarterback needy and you can acquire a haul. That's not going to happen. The Bears are going to end at number 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. So what I'd like to see the Bears do is end the season on a high note, go win a couple football games, give Caleb Williams some confidence, and then go draft him a left tackle at number 8, 9, or 10, and continue to build the offensive line through the draft or through free agency, and get this team positioned next year to be actually ready to compete with a quarterback who looks like he's going to be a good quarterback for a long time to come here. People can say that, oh, Jaden Daniels has better stats. People can say that Drake May. You guys, it's not quantifiable to say why the successes of Jaden Daniels have happened, or why Caleb Williams had these struggles, or why Drake May didn't start this season. You can't do that because they've all been put in different positions. I mean, if Jaden Daniels has been drafted by the Bears and Caleb Williams by the Commanders, I bet Jaden Daniels would have worse numbers than Caleb Williams. That's just it's the luck of the draw. The Bears need to focus on the future. They need to focus on the development of Caleb Williams. They need to focus on instilling a winning culture here. And the way you do that is by winning football games, especially if they can go into the last week of the season and beat their division rival Green Bay Packers, who have beat the crap out of us for the last 10 years. I appreciate you guys listening to me. Appreciate all the listeners. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you guys later this week. Thank you very much. Have a good Christmas.